Hi everybody, I'm just going to do my first vinyl finds video in 4 months. You know, I hardly bought anything, maybe about 3 records in the whole of lockdown, which was a 4-month period. You know, eject me from the VC. Keep Pension Derek, but you know. Anyway, this is it's just some great jazz stuff. These are all charity shop finds, and these were, some of these are just ordinary, but some are very rare, and let's get cracking, shall we? I'm going to do a follow-up video of post-punk and other stuff that I've picked up, mod revival, that kind of thing. Anyway, let's start with one of the big ones. This is One for Duke by Masaru Imada Trio, who did that brilliant Green Caterpillars album, which I would love to get a copy of. This original from 1975, the same year as Green Caterpillar, on Three Blind Mice. It's nothing like Green Caterpillars or Green Caterpillar. It's a far more laid back affair. It's a live thing, far more laid back, but I mean, what a find. Not easy to come by this kind of stuff. I looked into Japanese jazz for the last year or two. You know, you sort of salivate at some of it. Some of it's amazing, but to find something like this in a charity shop, in a collection of 70s and 80s kind of jazz and jazz fusion, a lot of it's there's a lot of kind of middle of the road stuff which I'm going to get rid of. I just, bought the entire stack. There were quite a few records like this one, which looks kind of nondescript. It's a repress. There were a few represses of original albums from the late 50s and early 60s. Savoy. Which are, worth a pretty penny. So, they look like nothing, but if you saw the original cover, you think, oh, that looks tasty. Exactly the same record, of course. So there are a few like that. Let's have a look. For example, another one, quite a nice record. I haven't listened to all of these. There are a few like this. Man alive, some of this kicks ass. There's 2 or 3 of these records. You just look at them and you think, yeah, okay. I mean, kick ass, some of the stuff on here. They're playing, they're just on another level, some of these. This one, the cover needs sticking together. Again, this sounds fantastic. I've just sampled some of it, but wow, those tracks, like this beer track, Autumn in New York, just to have been there would have been phenomenal. Here's another, as an original, it's worth a pretty penny. Looks like nothing, you think, oh, who cares, But no, a slow burn. Some killer music. I've seen this shown. This is not an original, it's an 1980 reissue, which again nowadays is like a 40 quid record, Oh, he's over here, in America, might be cheap, I don't know. But again, that's something you see every day, and to find this kind of thing in a collection, quite remarkable. I sampled some of this. I didn't actually know this album, I've seen it many times, but it's not something I've gone out of my way to listen to. But what struck me was there are 2 originals on here, and those 2 originals have far more kind of dynamism in the playing and far more kind of expression, and the others, he sounds like he's almost going through the motions a bit, a little flourishes here and there, but it's just not the same. Whereas his originals are just like, boom, he's really putting some energy in. The others, it's almost like he's just prattling around, if you think there's a difference between those songs. This is just one of the records in there. Sam Most Flute Flight. Again, interesting record. If anyone ever watched Keep It in the Family, the British sitcom, or The Likely Lads, they might recognise this guy. He looks very similar to the comedian, British comedian. But that's kind of cheapy. Again, another one of these, which looks like nothing, but flippin' heck, there's some good stuff on here. I mean, it just out of the blocks, these players. Bye Bye Blackbird, Gold Train. This is a nice one. It's only a cheapie looking it up, but there's some great stuff on here again. Herbie Green, The Fox. Which label? CTI. This sort of stuff over here. Never see it. And one more of those. An original of this will set you back like a lot of the others. This again, what an album. I can see why the original's so valuable. Great stuff on there. This is a rarish record. I didn't know anything about her, but the fact is, Hank Jones, Buster Williams, people are on here. She died when she's 32 or 33 apparently. Guitarist Emily Remler, you jazz people will probably know. So I just thought, well, it looks interesting. It's on Concord Jazz. I haven't listened to it yet, but it's another one of those that her records seem to be sought after. Yeah, you could easily flick past this. Kenny Burrell, Asphalt Canyon Suite, UK, on Verve. I only heard a tiny bit of that one. Anyway, let's have a look at another couple of these bigger hitters, shall we? Another Japanese. This is Isao Suzuki Quartet +1, Blue City. I posted this on Instagram as an amazing charity shop find. Mazzy said he's probably one of the few who thinks this kind of stuff sounds like the boring lounge players in the Hilton hotels, in the lounges of the hotels. And I said, well, you might be right, I haven't heard it. Then I sampled this thing. He's wrong. Well, in this case, he is wrong. Insert. Apparently it had an original 12-page booklet when it first came out. This is an original, but it hasn't got it. But the thing that's amazing about it, it's got a cello on here. The bass player, Suzuki himself, plays bass and cello. I mean, there are 2 bass players on this. This is some marvellous stuff, and the sound, I mean, the bass is just, oh, it's gorgeous. And just, you can tell by looking at that, it's not going to be that bad, is it? I mean, amazing to find this stuff. I'll just rush through a couple. There's another couple of heavies coming. Never seen this. Equipoise, Corial. I haven't heard it. It's got Stanley Cowell and Buster Williams on it. It's probably going to be very good. It's on Muse. There's a Carla Bley sextet. I do like her stuff. There's a very different feel to a lot of people's music, in my opinion. She plays the organ on here. Larry Willis plays the piano. Steve Swallow on bass. A nice insert. And that's on What Records. Anyway, time is rushing. I was going to keep this really short. I have not heard this, but a couple of reviews on Discogs say this. If you ever see this for $1 or whatever in the dollar bin, pick it up because it's one of the best sounding records you're ever going to hear. And the jazz maybe, it looks kind of like it might be fairly ordinary. Clarinet player actually leading it. but apparently it's supposed to be like an audiophile dream. I sampled this. This was flipping heck. This has got some good stuff on it. I tend to look over Oscar Peterson as a bit like, well, whatever. And this is 1969. I mean, that's got some fiery playing on there. There's a copy of Statement, Charlie Mingus. This is actually on Lotus, which is an Italian label, which is apparently a bootleg. Doesn't look like one, but apparently it is according to Discog. Horace Parlan Trio. Oh, this is a direct cutting steeplechase disc. This one's a nice one. I listened to a bit of this as well. Again, wow, really surprising. I shouldn't be surprised. I mean, it's got Lalo Schifrin, you know. I mean, just brilliant. I'll rush through a few of these. There's a copy of Bob James Little 1. A bit faded on the sleeve. Yeah, this is CTI. This one's a rare one. Again, you look at that, you just go, oh, whatever, flick over. But because it was all part of his collection, nowadays I don't ever turn away a Japanese LP of any sort, because you just don't know. And this is a 3-time mice. This is with the Shoji Yakuchi Trio and Sextet, Mari. And there's the tracks. So it's vocal jazz. I haven't listened to a lot of this, I've just sampled a couple of bits. Sounds very, very nice though. Again, quite a rare one, quite valuable. It's been reissued. A Quota, Red Garland. Yeah, I haven't seen this before. This is on BASF, German record. NPS. This is a very rare record. This is for Jazz Hip Trio, Jazz in Relief. This is a UK pressing on Major Minor. Fabulous condition. And it's quite sought after for this Orange Boom track apparently. I'm not sure if they were, I'm looking at those names, I can't remember if they were Swedish or what. I mean, there's an Italian bass name, perhaps a German pianist. But yeah, that is excellent. A really nice find. I mean, just look at that. Just for the cover alone, the style and design. I think it's 1968. I think it's 68, maybe 67. 67, yeah. Very nice. This is a nice one. This is like a fusion album, Joe DiOrio. 20th Century Impressions. It says there's only 3 players, but it definitely sounds like more at times. And it is a fusion thing. It's all kind of improvised. Majority of it is improvised. And it just got a really good feel. 1980. Yeah, not something you see every day. Definitely worth seeking this guy out. His playing is, you know, he's a virtuoso. Another couple here. This actually was from earlier on in the week. This is Ursula Future Talk, or Ursula Future Talk. And look at the players on here. John Abercrombie, Michael Baniak, and also Namilovsky's on here. And she does these incredible vocal gymnastics. You know, she's like really high and really low level, those huge octave range. And you go, ooh, oh, oh, you know, all this stuff within a kind of breath, you know. And really unusual record. It kind of takes a second, maybe a minute or two or a few minutes to get used to it, to what's going on here. I mean, he's got some incredible playing, but her voice is the dominant instrument, and it is an instrument. She's not singing any words as such. Maybe it's slightly, you think it's slightly too much, you think, oh, I want to hear more of the instruments, which do come in occasionally. But there's something about it, you just want to keep hearing more. It's got this really strange feel to it. Very nice. I know someone I posted on Instagram, someone said it's one of his all-time favourite records. This one's a bit of a unusual, it's a fairly cheapy, really, considering Nothing But the Blues, Herb Ellis, featuring Stan Getz, Ray Brown, etc. This is original UK from Columbia, and this was in another earlier collection, Side by Side. I did go into Johnny Hodges on the wonderful HMV. Lovely sounding record. I mean, you can see by the condition there. Besides, there's a whole other load which, some of these are fairly regular, but I'll finish off with this one. This is a real cheapie, but it's the kind of thing sometimes you want that stuff in your collection. This is the sort of thing, the lounge jazz kind of feel, sort of happy jazz, realm. But it's a lot of information here as well about people and whatnot. But Kenny Burrell's on here, playing solo guitar, whereas Freddie Green plays rhythm guitar. Yeah, so just a nice one, really evocative of the period, 1964. It's just on the cusp of kind of that sort of easier listening, that sort of period, from the late 50s period. But anyway, I probably missed a few, but there we are. I thought it was a nice find. Some really good stuff there, and I'll see you all soon. Cheers.